Hey everybody, welcome to Tory Finds the TARDIS. I'm the Josh of the show, and that's the Tory.
Yes, I am the Tory. I feel like Mork and Mindy a little bit.
A little bit
A little bit.
like Mork and Mindy. Well, for those of you that don't know what we're doing here, believe it or not, Tory, the one of the quintessential fandom people out there, just loves a good story to latch on to, has never seen Doctor Who.
Yes.
We rectified that.
Yes. My Doctor Who cherry has been popped.
Colorful. That's a colorful way to say it. But this show is about documenting Tori's experience going through the adventures in time and space, and her feelings about that unique individual known as the Doctor.
Yes. And I have to say this doctor is pretty sexy, so that was nice.
You know, the weird thing about doing these types of shows is knowing exactly where to start. You know, there's fun facts, there's trivia, there's bits of information that do tie to future events, but we don't want to get into spoiler territory because, like we said, this is Tori's first time, so we have to
Yes.
be gentle. And as we all know, spoilers.
Right.
So here we are, episode number 1 of the new series of Doctor Who, Rose. The first series. It brings us a lot of new information for those watching for the first time, as well as a lot of. I mean, it doesn't necessarily take a deep dive into any kind of particular lore. This in this episode, it brings back an old enemy and reintroduces us to this character. So, how about we start with the basics?
Okay.
Okay. The Ninth Doctor, yeah, number 9. How do you feel about that? To know that this is, so I guess, sort of canon wise, the 9th version of this character.
Well, I thought maybe it could be played out, but then I got to thinking like, well, each doctor could be as individual as everybody, as a person is on Earth. Like it
Mm-hmm.
could be, so it can be anything. So I I kept an open mind with this one because I didn't know. I don't know. I don't know what kind of I don't want to make a wrong choice here.
There are no wrong choices. The Doctor, played by Christopher Eccleston, appears on scene. And, well, first, let's get to the detaily stuff. Directed by Russell T Davies, and no, not directed by, written by Russell T Davies and directed by Keith Boak. Rose is, like I said, the first episode in the new series introduces Christopher Eccleston and Billy Piper as Rose Tyler.
Okay, yes.
Now, without rehashing the entire episode at this moment, because we're about to. What'd you think when you first saw the Doctor come on screen? And he had that one word that he tells Billy Piper, or that he tells Rose Tyler, this kind of average, average chick, that has her retail job. That she goes to work. She lives with her mom. Um, he shows up on screen. First thing he says to her is, "Run."
Yeah. That was a little okay, well, we're running now. And for me, I would be like, I'm not a runner, so this sucks. But I mean, it, this is a perfect time in Rose's life to have an adventure.
Yeah, it is.
So, I think that is great. I think this I don't know if I like the acting yet in this
Hmm.
show. I'm sorry. Some of it's really cheesy a little bit, but it's okay. It's okay. It's like it's a cheesy in a good way, a nostalgic way.
Well, this was the first, if I'm not mistaken, the first regular series episode of Doctor Who in 16 years at the time
Oh
they came out.
wow. Yeah.
So it kind of ran its course up till 1989, and then there were some one-offs and specials in between um, the last regular series Doctor Who and what became the new series with Chris Eccleston. So it had been a while, but
Yeah.
once it came back, it came back to big numbers. People loved it, and I think people really, uh, after this first episode, like the idea of the Doctor and Rose's combination, which is good. Right
Yeah.
off the bat, you gotta start nailing down relationships. It's essentially a pilot. You know.
Yes, it is. And there's a lot of pilot things to it that probably I'm guessing were not part of the series before this. So, I'm not going to name things, but like just different points in the episode you can tell that they were identifying characters and backstories and introducing you to new things. You can just felt like you were discovering it. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. Well, you want me to go ahead and break down
Yeah.
the synopsis, the plot, if you will. Where I'm getting this information from TARDIS.fandom.com. If anybody wants to read along at home, no, I did not take extensive notes. I took some notes, and then I realized, wait, there's a website that has all of this.
One stop shop. You have to go. You have to do it.
So the way it's going to work is I'm going to read it, and Tori's going to kind of chime in with, you know, what she thinks about the things that are happening as I'm reading it. So here we go. The plot
Okay.
for Rose. Rose Tyler wakes up one morning, gets ready for work, and kisses her mother Jack goodbye. She gets the bus to Hendrix, the department store where she works. In the evening, as the store nears closing time, Rose is about to walk home when she is stopped by a security guard who is holding the lottery winnings for Wilson, the chief electrician. She goes to the basement in search of him, but Wilson is nowhere to be found. She enters a large storage room and is disturbed to see a group of moving shop window mannequins that soon surround her and raise their arms to kill her. All of a sudden, a man takes hold of her hand and tells her to run.
Run. Yes. I don't know how you know what? I would run because those mannequins were going to get me. I don't know what they're going to do. Honestly, once they get me, what are they going to do? But
Hmm.
in this sense, you're terrified, so you want to run anyway.
Well, I know that you yourself are a fan of horror.
Yes.
You really like horror, as I mean, you're the host of the Infectious Geek. Of course, you love horror.
Yes.
But what was your horror instinct doing when you see Rose, the pretty blonde, going down to the basement all alone?
Oh God, yeah, I know. Like rule number 4, you do not do that. I mean, at least have a buddy. You always need a buddy in a horror movie. Like, never go anywhere alone. Anyway, like anywhere.
Hmm.
So to go to a basement knowing that Just knowing that there's mannequins down there is kind of creepy because even if okay, so even if the your vaping caught me off guard, so sorry. Getting back on track. Uh Even though like there is scary stuff, she I guess is comfortable enough to go down there by herself, so maybe there wasn't in her mind a reason to be wary of a basement. You know what I mean?
But I imagine even in what 2005 to be a young woman going someplace isolated and alone.
Yeah, and if it's in a TV show or movie, you know something bad is about to
Hmm.
happen. You just know. Like, and if you don't know, what was it that we were talking about at at the TV dinners, tropes. It was
Oh
kind of
yeah, yeah.
it was definitely a trope, you
Hmm.
know? So, I don't know. I thought that it was kind of creepy. I wouldn't
Hmm.
say it was scary or I got scared by the walking mannequins, but it's all right.
Well, she quickly obliges, and they both run to a lift. That's an elevator for those of you that don't speak um, Anglophile, I guess. Whilst being pursued by the mannequins. Before the doors can close, one of the Autons, by the way, that's what they're called, the Autons, um, they, I don't have that note with me, but they were part of the Classic Who um, somewhere.
Yeah.
And one of the Autons reaches for them, but the man quickly pulls its arm off before it can do them any harm. On the way up, he informs Rose that Wilson's dead. If you recall, Wilson, the chief electrician. Um, when they arrive at the ground level, the man holds up a bomb and tells Rose that he plans to destroy a relay device to stop the Autons. He offers a quick introduction. He is the doctor and tells her to run for her life. So, twice within 5 minutes, his best advice and only advice to her is run.
Yeah, and he has a bomb. That's not a good first impression. Like, if you think about it, I mean, maybe it's a lasting first impression. You'll never forget him. He will always be the mannequin bomb guy.
That blew up her job.
Yes, it blew up her job and no compensation. Oh.
Well, Rose heeds his advice and runs from the vicinity carrying the plastic arm with her. Once she's at a safe distance, she watches in shock as Hendrix explodes in a huge ball of flame. Rose then flees away past a strange blue box. She returns home and her boyfriend, Mickey Smith, comes in to check she's okay. He eventually leaves to watch football, probably soccer, and is asked to take the arm with him. He throws the plastic piece into one of the bins outside. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts on Mickey? We're introduced to Mickey. What do you think about Mickey?
I don't know. I think he was pretty average. Like, he really wasn't that weird or I don't know.
He's just a guy, right?
Yeah, yeah, he's like guy A on the credits, you know what I mean? Like there shouldn't be, he shouldn't have really had a name, but I guess they had to name him.
Now, just a quick curiosity: have you watched ahead any bit, or is this still the only one you've seen?
I saw episode 2 just in case we wanted to do 2 episodes.
Okay.
So, yeah. Maybe he gets an a great personality and he's like, SEAL Team 6 in this whole adventure, but I don't know.
But
But
as of now,
as of
he's
now,
just this guy.
this guy, yes,
So
very wholesome.
the next morning, Rose awakens before realizing that she no longer has a job to go to. Oh, if only we all had that problem, right?
Yes, that would be
No
terrible.
job to go to. Darn. Walking around the house, she suddenly hears a scratching noise from the cat flap. She assumes her mother hasn't screwed it shut and it's a stray cat, which, of course, it's not.
Right. Right, because something weird can only something as weird as what happened cannot be followed up with anything but something weird. You know what I mean? Like I
Mm-hmm.
would be on guard for something weird happening the next day. I would not be relieved. I'd be like, all right, what's up? What's next?
Yeah, she's kind of a little nonchalant about things at this moment.
She is. She is. Maybe it's her way of coping. Like
Could be, could
to
be.
a traumatic situation. Some people act weird.
Well, she opens up the door to find the doctor, the guy that blew up her work, standing at her doorstep.
Yep.
And he tells her he's been tracing a signal from the plastic arm. Rose invites him in. While Rose is making the coffee, he explores the room and looks in the mirror and is stunned by the size of his ears, implying he has, well, don't need to worry about that. He peers behind the sofa, and if you recall, he's like, "Do you have a cat?"
Yeah.
She's like, "No," and then it's
Yeah.
straight up Evil Dead style.
Yeah. Yes, that's exactly what I thought of. As soon as as soon as that happened, I was like, "Oh my god. Is it a zombie arm? No, it's a mannequin arm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no." Oh, you never keep anything from a incident as a keepsake. Like if something weird happens, like these are
Just
my
let it go.
rules.
Just let
Yeah,
it go.
just let it go. Don't keep it because it's usually cursed.
Oh, you'll find out why that's great advice for this show in particular as the episodes roll on. Um, so the doctor is being strangled by this mannequin hand, which Rose totally sees. She's like,
Mhm.
mm-hmm, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, she doesn't do anything. Like she's all like, "Oh, you got this," you know. Mm,
Until it attacks her.
yeah,
So the doctor uses his handy dandy sonic screwdriver, which is the tool of choice for the doctor.
yeah,
Very, very capable device. Can do many, many things. Um, he basically shuts it down, tosses it to her, and scrams. So just like that, he's in, he's out.
right.
That's the doctor. So Rose runs down the stairs to chase after him, demanding to know what's going on. He tells her that the living plastic is here to start a war that would overthrow and destroy the human race, so they can claim the Earth as their own. The doctor then departs in a mysterious blue box in the car park, the parking lot, for those of you, you know, ordering her to forget about him. Rose turns away for a second. When she looks back, both he and the box are gone.
Hmm. Vanished.
So that's when it goes into a kind of an interesting direction where they're like you said, it's very much a pilot, but it's a pilot with more than 30 years of history. So they kind of go into some of it without going into it.
Right, there's Easter eggs, right?
Sort of, sort of. Um, I don't want to really. Yeah, so I'm not going to give any spoilers for anything ever at all. So I will say that they kept things focused on Chris Eccleston, and anyway, I'll just start reading the synopsis again. The plot: Rose cannot let go and decides to use Mickey's computer. She tries different keywords on searchwise.net. Just doctor makes medical results, and Doctor Living Plastic makes art results. Eventually, on settling on Doctor Blue Box, she follows a link to who was Doctor Who dot, not important. It's a website owned by a conspiracy theorist named Clive. Mickey drives her to the man's house where she's invited in by his son out in his shed. Clive shows her images from many points in Earth's past, including the assassination of John F. Kennedy, the sinking of the Titanic, and the explosion of Krakatoa. All the pictures he shows her feature this doctor. He goes through the facts. The doctor is a legend woven throughout history. When disaster comes, he's there. Clive states that he believes the doctor is an immortal alien. He tells her he is dangerous and that he has only one constant companion, and that is death. So they're kind of giving the pieces a little bit to who the doctor is, although not entirely accurate, but it's filling in some gaps to who the doctor is, especially for those that, don't actually know, but they do have this trail throughout history of this guy showing up.
Right. Like the superhero that we would know in America.
Right. Except bad things happen when he shows up.
Oh, he's the rainy cloud.
I think that's what Clive is kind of hinting at.
Right.
Not necessarily calling him the savior of humanity as much as, for some reason, whenever he shows up, things go bad. So meanwhile, Mickey is keeping an eye on the house from his car. He gets distracted by a bin wheeling towards him on its own. He gets out of the car and opens the bin, expecting to see someone playing a joke. He surprisingly finds it completely empty, and as he tries to close the lid, he finds that it's stuck to his hands. The plastic stretches as he tries to pull away after a few attempts. But basically, the trash can eats him.
Yes. Yes. I don't know. Like, the trash can is kind of mean, right? Like, I don't know if it had a character. I don't know where he went. Because, when when things come alive in shows, they have eyeballs,
Yeah.
they talk to you, they have mouths, but this trash can didn't have any of that. So
Just
just
plastic.
So
Beware your plastics.
yes, some of them are very bad for you. It's terrible.
Well, sometime later, Rose returns to the car, convinced that she's wasted her time, that this man really is just a conspiracy nutter. They decide to go for pizza. What she doesn't realize is that her Mickey has been swapped, replaced by a shiny plastic duplicate.
His smile was creepy AF. So I was like, I'm like, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
This is not good. He's definitely a pod person,
How did it go? And then while they were eating, sweetheart, babe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He sounded like
She's
a bro if the bro is in a fucking in a relationship.
What I found, because I've seen these many times and it never fails to astonish me how Rose is just completely unaware.
Right. Or she chooses to look the other way.
It's like he noticeably looks different.
Yeah.
He noticeably acts different, and she doesn't say, "Why are you acting weird?" She's like, "Why are you acting like that?"
Yeah, and what is that? Did he act like that before? And she caught. I don't.
For at this point, for all we know, this is normal for Mickey.
Yes, because he was so plain Jane. So, but his creepy smile should have alerted her that something's going on, But maybe I don't know.
Well, the two arrive at the restaurant, and Plastic Mickey starts to grill Rose about the doctor. Rose is disturbed by Mickey's speech patterns, speaking as if he is somehow malfunctioning. They are interrupted twice by the offer of champagne. Mickey finally looks up, only to find the doctor holding the bottle, with a Now we've got you. He's like,
Ha 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 ha. Yeah.
the doctor fires the cork at Mickey's forehead, but it molds into his plastic skull and simply makes it down to his mouth where he spits it out. His hand morphs into paddles and it begins attacking all those around him. There's a brief struggle until the doctor pulls his head off, but it simply tells him not to expect it to stop him, causing a man at the next table to scream in horror. Rose hits the fire alarm, tells everybody to get out. That's more superheroing than all of the DCEU combined. And while the others evacuate, the Doctor and Rose are chased out of the building by a now headless Mickey, who flips over tables in the process. A bit of levity, a comedic moment during this chaos and craziness with the headless Mickey.
Yeah. It kind of reminded me of Roger Rabbit a little bit. Like how he was very Toontown-ish. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense to anybody else, but it just felt like
Oh
that
yeah,
to
it
me.
totally makes sense to me.
Okay, cool.
Okay, they escape to the back courtyard, and the Doctor enters his little blue box with nowhere to go. Rose follows him inside at the last second. The second she enters, though, she rushes back outside, thinking she has just gone mad. The inside of the box is bigger than the outside. The Doctor explains that his blue box is called the TARDIS, TARDS, time in relative dimension and space, and
Yeah.
that both it and he are alien. And though Rose is convinced that the headless dummy will follow them inside, the Doctor reassures her by stating that the simple hordes of Genghis Khan couldn't get through that door, and according to him, they've tried.
Yes. I do not doubt that. Just by what I know of Doctor Who before I started this whole ordeal.
So the Doctor is kind of revealing himself to be kind of a quirky, sometimes a little serious, sometimes a little playful, but all the time the Doctor.
Right.
I believe was it here that Rose asked, "What about Mickey? Is he dead?" He's like, "Oh, I hadn't thought of that." Just didn't even cross his mind that her boyfriend might be dead.
Yeah, because in his world, people get sacrificed to weird shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's just normal for him, but it's not normal for anybody else. I don't think. Like,
And when you get to be his age, things normal is so relative.
it is. It's so relative. I mean, okay, so yeah. I mean, there's casualties all the time
Mm-hmm.
in life. There is, people kick the bucket earlier than expected sometimes. And maybe he didn't bond with Mickey at all. So why would he care if he was
Well,
dead,
the Doctor has a great line when it comes to Mickey a little bit later, so
Okay.
can't wait to get to that. But sure enough, as the Doctor wires Mickey's head to the console, Rose wonders if the real Mickey is dead. The Doctor hadn't even considered this. The couple's conversation is cut short when Rose points out that the head is melting. He had hoped to use it to track down the Nestine consciousness, the entity controlling the Autons. He still manages to follow a trace of the signal, but the head is completely melted before they can find the precise location of the consciousness. They land somewhere nearby their destination by the edge of the River Thames. Rose is shocked to learn that they have moved. The Doctor explains that he needs to find a transmitter of some kind, very big, very round, and he figures it must be completely invisible. But that's when Rose, does the
Yeah.
and it takes a few looks as the Doctor's like, what? Because behind him is, of course, a big, very big and round London Eye, the Ferris wheel in London. And after a second, it's like, oh.
Yeah. Everybody has moments like that, though. Like, everybody has a moment where they act like a complete blonde, you know? Like, they just, that was his moment.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. Brilliant, yes. You know, I tried to one for in other news, like I tried to do the British accents and uh talk like um somebody from England, and
Yeah.
it just goes wrong really bad, so I don't even try anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
I
no good at accents.
I'm in the big book of bad British accents, right next to Dick Van Dyke.
Dick Van Dyke, yes. Mhm. Yeah, I remember that. I remember watching him on TV Land.
Is old Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
I
Oh my
apologize.
god. I apologize to all Englishmen and women for any bad impressions that I might do.
Oh, there's going to be plenty.
Yeah. You know, and I can tell that this is going to be fun and not necessarily playful all the time, but it's definitely going to be fun getting into the mix of all this.
I think one of the things that you're going to find is the characters you're going to love.
Yeah.
So Rose immediately notices Mickey when they enter and runs down to him. The doctor rolls his eyes, you know. The doctor tries to reason with an S-Teen, but the consciousness has two of its autons capture him when it detects the presence of the TARDIS, which it identifies as terrifyingly superior technology. They discover a vial of antiplastic in his pocket, which he had intended to use only as a last resort. Last
Where
resort?
uh
Don't know where that came
after
from.
I don't know. It was the accent conversation. You're like, I'm gonna show mine somehow. But yeah, where does he get this magic potion? This magic anti-plastic potion? Like, does he just have it hanging around? You know, like, oh, in case mannequins get alive, I need this. You know, like, how did he know? Like, it's like anti-venom. You don't know
Well, he knew he
sometimes.
was going up against. He's gone up against them before.
Okay. See, I didn't know that. So, okay. So he knows the secrets to getting. Okay. I don't know if anybody else has ever watched Stargate SG-1, but it's kind of like the replicators. Like,
Sort of.
that's how and
Although
that's like
if I were to compare it to a show, I would say it's more akin to Hoarders.
hoarders.
Yeah, just over centuries, you tend to accumulate a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
And the Doctor is not necessarily known for throwing things out.
Oh gosh. So he has just stuff
Yeah,
all
just
over the
stuff.
place. Yeah. Well, maybe most of it is actually like useful or has a backstory because, you know, if it's like museum-y type pieces, is a lot different. It's a lot different than trash, like half-eaten food, uh, stuff that's squished, like rotting fruit, that kind of stuff. Like if that was in the mix, that would be disgusting. But if it's all like, you know, museum-y type stuff, I'm okay with that.
Now, I want to ask you in just this episode alone, you've seen the Doctor rip off someone's arm, rip off someone's head, blow up a building. But when it comes time to confront the the sort of big bad of the episode, he switches tactics to negotiation.
Right.
He wants to talk, even though in his pocket is the thing that would ensure victory, so to speak.
Maybe maybe he's trying something new. He's like, "You know what? My ways weren't really working. The way that I catch the bad guys wasn't really going my way, so I'm changing tactics and I'm going with the negotiations.
Would you say that it falls more into the traditional heroes, um, not journey, but uh, repertoire? You got action heroes that do that. You have to fight to get to the boss, right? That's just
Right.
how it is in everything. You got to go through the underlings to get to the big person, and sometimes you rip off a few heads. It's just what happens.
Right. It's a very good metaphor for life as well. Go ahead.
And when he finally gets to where he needs to go, taking the making the hero's choice of, you know, we need to talk this out. Let's end this peacefully before anybody else gets hurt. Now, I don't think the Autons were, you know, anything more than extensions of, this being.
Right.
So there wasn't really consciousness to worry about when he's ripping someone's head off. But just the idea that in this first episode, you see someone that is not only willing, but desperately attempting to bring this to a peaceful end.
Yeah. And if I were going to categorize the Doctor or first impressions of the Doctor, I thought he should have ensured victory, and that would have made him more badass than the negotiations. It's like the US going to Iran and being like, "Hey guys, let's just chill." It's not going to work. Like the talks aren't going to work. They're not going to listen, you know? I don't know.
Well, um, the Nestine confront the Time Lord enemy about its lost planet. He responds, "I couldn't save your world. I couldn't save any of them." Terrified, it decides to start the invasion ahead of schedule, sending a signal to activate the Autons. Rose calls her mother to get her home safe, but Jackie doesn't hear her well and continues into the Queen's Arcade Mall for some late night shopping. Much to her surprise, the shop window dummies come to life, breaking through the windows as the bemused shoppers stare at them. Clive, who remarks that everything he read about was true, is confronted by an Auton who detaches its hand and presumably shoots him dead in front of his wife and son. Panic ensues as the Autons start blasting and shoppers scatter in all directions. The conspiracy theory guy gets confronted directly with his own theories about aliens and whatnot. He's like, "I was right. It's true." And then
Right.
blam.
Yeah. They have to shut him up. He's gonna tell the truth. No, but late night shopping, is that an English thing?
Possibly. Maybe it's a city thing, people that live in places where
Maybe.
things stay open.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe because maybe that's normal in New York City and it's just not normal here.
Yeah,
I
everything
don't.
here closes at like 5, so I don't know.
Yeah. It does.
You want to
A
go out
lot.
tonight? I don't know where you want to go. Walmart, the Waffle House? Well, they're the only things open.
Yeah. Really. I mean, that's true. And around here especially too, we're a resort town, but we're not really like, I don't know. Okay, somebody just had a comment, so I was just reading it.
Well, you can read it out loud so
Okay,
everybody can.
I absolutely loved late night shopping until the government decided that everything needs to close at the latest 8 p.m. Pigeon 7717, I think that's completely true. I mean, it crippled the nation what happens, and we weren't prepared for it. So everybody's like, just shut everything down. And I don't. I just went about my life. I didn't do anything special.
Speaking of doing special things, below the London Eye, Rose decides to take some initiative. She breaks free of one of the chains on the wall with an axe and swings down to the Autons, both freeing the Doctor and pushing the Autons along with the anti-plastic into the bag containing the Nestine consciousness. The vial leaks, and the Nestine consciousness dies in pain. Now, I'm going to get your take here. Rose kind of, I mean, she never really comes off as a damsel in distress. She just seems like a young woman that finds herself in this weird situation.
Yeah, like Alice and Alice in Wonderland a little bit.
She was she didn't seem terribly fussed by it, but she also didn't seem terribly interested in it. It's just kind of there.
Yeah, yeah, she did seem pretty stoic about things. I think that her attitude, like, she's not surprised about some of the things that happen to her.
Maybe
She's
it's
not.
that British stiff upper lip.
Maybe, because people over there act a little differently. Like, uh, just not. I'm not saying anything bad, but like,
Okay.
they're more proper than we are. They have more manners. They're taught more manners over there than they are here. People around here don't have any manners because we're not taught. But anyway, so I think,
She kind of pulls the hero card out.
yeah, she does definitely put the hero card out, but in kind of like a B way, right? She's a good sidekick, but she wouldn't be the lead.
Okay, that's okay. Well, back in the mall, Jackie runs outside to behold utter chaos. Autons are everywhere, bodies litter the ground, people run in all directions, and a double-decker bus at the end of the street has crashed into a postbox and burst into flames. A black cab goes past, honking its horn, only to get its rear windscreen shattered by a bullet. Jackie takes cover behind the car as three bright Autons crash through the window behind her. Suddenly, when they are just about to shoot her dead, the transmitter shuts down and all the Autons return to lifeless minutes again. Underneath the London Eye, the Nestine space starts to collapse and explode. The Doctor, Mickey, and Rose board the TARDIS and just in time,
Yeah.
escape a huge explosion. Jackie looks around at the chaos as shell-shocked survivors struggle to come to terms with what has happened. So, chaos in the streets, and people are kind of like, well, what?
Yeah. So it wasn't like everybody was super shocked by it. It was kind of like, oh, this kind of happens all the time. Maybe in a parallel universe it does. But if I saw something like that, I'd be like, what? I would be really shocked if it was true. If it wasn't on TV.
Right. Well, with the Earth saved, the Doctor suggests to Rose join him on his adventures. They can go anywhere in the whole universe. Mickey, this is the line I was telling you about. Mickey grabs a hold of her tight, um, and the Doctor says, "He's not invited." And
uh,
then Rose disappoints the Doctor by saying, "No, she can't. She has to take care of the lump," she called him,
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
as he's as he's literally being clingy,
Yeah.
grasping around her waist, basically crying, not crying, but no, you can't go,
Yeah. Pleading. He's pleading. You know, that kind of, I mean, you could either take it as vulnerability or you could take him as he's being a,
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
mm-hmm,
Hmm. Kitty cat.
yeah, meow meow.
Well,
Yeah.
The doctor, you know, bids farewell and activates the TARDIS and the second time I did that, activates the TARDIS and heads out, uh, leaving Mickey. Well, he's still kind of freaked out over everything, and Rose, being the strong one, she's like, let's get you home.
Right. So she wears the pants in the relationship. I would in this dynamic. That's how I see it.
She's a very strong, independent woman, and it's just too bad she turned down the doctor
Yeah.
to go on adventures because, like you said, it's the perfect age to uh, go on an adventure. And in a situation like that, you just never know if you'll ever see the doctor again, let alone
Right.
wait. Because as soon as he leaves, the doctor comes back
Yes.
and mentions, "Oh, did I forget to tell you that it's a time machine?"
Yeah.
And apparently that was the selling point she needed because
She didn't have a clue until then, right? That I mean, somehow wasn't it explained that it was a time machine before that?
I believe it was he mentioned that TARDIS stands for time and relative dimension in space, and the Nutter believed that the Doctor was just guy with the blue box that was immortal. So maybe he's thinking the trip is just one way.
Right.
He's taking the long way around, so to speak.
Maybe.
When he's just really like when he showed up in Krakatoa, it's like, oh, that was last Tuesday.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. That would be weird. That would be weird. I don't know if I would like time travel, honestly. I don't
it
know.
makes daylight savings time seem like nothing, doesn't it?
Yes. Oh, the lag and the hangovers, like like oh my gosh, the jet lag or time lag. It would be time lag, wouldn't it?
I would love to see at some point. Maybe it happened and I just missed it, but I would like to see at some point the companion say something like, um, "Doctor, wherever we go, can we just make sure that the local time is the same as my watch? Tired of resetting it.
Yeah, that would be annoying.
If we leave 2022 at 8 p.m., wherever we go, I don't care where it is, just let's make sure that it's the equivalent of 8 p.m. so I don't have to reset my watch."
Or get my sleep schedule messed up
Mm-hmm.
because God, that would be I don't know. See, I don't know if I would like this as a if it happened to me, I don't know if I like that because I hate being tired. Like I hate it. But, you know, I guess because how cool her life is going to be. She just people just deal with that kind of situation because you know, they choose to be in this adventure. So,
Well, um, Rose runs towards the TARDIS, and that's the end of episode one.
yes.
What are your thoughts on the episode as a whole?
It was very hmm, I thought it was a very good introduction to what I was to all of this. And I think that one of the funnest parts about this was the mannequins. It
Mm-hmm.
kind of reminded me of the movie
The movie
Mannequin.
Mannequin.
Yes. And so I was and mermaids, right? Like wasn't there like a she worked at a place where there was mannequins? I don't know. Maybe I'm mixing movies up, but at any rate, I also liked. Oh, sorry, sorry, Jen.
Hey, Jen. For those of you not aware, Jen is the host of TV Dinners, as well as one of the co-hosts for 1021, shows that you can find here. Wildco Media's.
Badco Media, yes. So yeah, so I think the episode as a whole though was very it was a good intro, and I think that the doctor is quirky and in
Mhm.
the right way. Not quirky
Okay,
and yeah, cuz there could be good quirky and there can be bad quirky,
fair enough.
Like my boss is kind of like a a very borderline quirky. So but he's a good quirky, like, you like him. You are he's relatable regardless of what's going on. You kind of feel a connection to him. I guess maybe the actor is charismatic.
Hmm.
That's how I see it. And then like it's a good premise. It's a good you get the character explanations, and season uh what
One.
was it? 1,
Episode 1.
episode 1. Okay. Well, it was in season 1. Well, I mean, it was our season 1, but
New
2006.
series. New series season 1.
Oh, okay, new series season 1. Okay, got it. I thought like okay, got it. So, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Supernatural and how weird stuff was happening, and I was, kind of it was like that if time travel was, I don't know, I guess I'm a little weary of the time travel thing because so many people have done it and so many people have tried to explain it, and it's so hard to explain. It's so hard to explain time travel, like, so people understand it.
Hmm.
What do you think? Like, do you think that people don't understand time travel, so maybe like this
No,
is
Jen, don't do that. Well, time travel is one of those inexplicable things that a lot of people try to explain in movies and TV shows, but I think it always just kind of falls short when they try
Mhm.
to explain it. And
Yes,
I don't
that's
want to give
exactly how
spoilers,
I
but
feel.
said I don't want to give spoilers. But if you're looking for an explanation as to why everything works, don't,
Right.
because you're not going to get it.
I guess it's kind of like Monsters Inc. with Pixar. Like, you kind of have to accept a little bit of magic when it comes to Disney, and I guess
Yeah,
this is the same way. Like, you just
that's
have
the
to.
conceit. It's a time machine that can teleport and go through space and doesn't need an explanation. No, just go on the
Yeah,
journey.
yeah, yeah. I think that it's whimsical, the premise, but it's not they want to have a lot of darkness they want to add a little bit of darkness to it, the series at least. Like, it's not just sunshine and rainbows, like, oh,
Right.
let's go visit my grandma, like, like, it's not like that. So I think that's good, and I think that it left off a very good I don't know, foreshadowing for what's to come, right? So
Hmm.
it opened up in the gates for a lot of things to end up happening.
I think one of the things that, especially between episodes 1 and 2, you'll notice is episode 1 had, the strong sci-fi tie-ins, but it also had some roots in horror as
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
whether it's how it's shot or how certain characters behaved. But um, episode 2 is a It's a completely different vibe,
Right.
even though it's the same show. So
Yeah, it's kind of like The Walking Dead almost, because the pilot episode was directed by somebody completely different
that
than.
was Frank Darabont, right?
Yes. And he didn't want to do the project. So, and they changed the zombies from being like, that they could tear your face off and run
Mm-hmm.
after you, to like, oh, more Walking Dead, more Night of the Living Dead zombies. But anyway, we're,
The different fandom.
yes, and a different fandom.
Okay, when we return next week, we're going to be talking about episode 2, End of the World,
Yes,
where
already.
the first official adventure with uh, the Doctor and Rose takes them to the end of the world. Okay, I just said that, but they're going to see the end of Earth.
Oh no, that's scary. Oh, and then you have so many memories. It's kind of like, and your family. Like, I well, let's see if any of them get saved.
We'll have to wait and see.
Eh, They're not going to let the world end. There's going to be an apocalyptic adventure, but that's what I have to say. I'm not going to put any spoilers. So,
Okay.
okay.
Well, Tori, before we get out of here, is there anything you want the people to know about?
Well, I'm excited because I'm interviewing somebody on Sunday. So my show is usually Friday nights at 9, but I'm
I was
going
only
to,
available on Sunday, so
yeah. Yeah, that too. But no, this writer director who just released a movie on Amazon Prime called Mothman. His name is Joshua Brucker, and I'm going to interview him and see what his upcoming adventures are, and all about Mothman and how excited he was to get kind of uh put in the limelight. This is like his first big project, so it's cool. I kind of want to see him grow as a writer and director. That'd be cool.
okay.
Yeah,
Sunday, what time?
at 9 p.m.
9 p.m. And where can people watch that?
Oh, you could go to my Facebook page, and soon I will be putting this all on my YouTube channel, which is right now is Tory Rush, but I also have the Infectious Geek
Mm-hmm.
separate. So you can go there to get all of our past episodes and stuff like that.
Well, Tori, if you'll send me that information, I will go ahead and post it on the Wadco Media's Facebook page.
Okay, cool.
So if you want to find out more about that, as well as more about Wadco Media, just, one, go to wadcomedia.com. That's where all of the pertinent links are. You can find the social media pages there, including Facebook, where we broadcast. We go to Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube all at the same time. So that's where you can find our shows, not just Mondays, but on Wednesdays we have 1021. It's a countdown show about movies where Jen and I, you might have noticed her in the chat there, to create arbitrary lists about movies and then talk about them every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. On Thursdays, it's Jen's show, TV Dinners. You might notice what's that person over there sitting on the panel from time to time talking about subjects involving television. The last episode, I kind of got my partner Jen and we hijacked it with an episode of 1021. Sorry. So yeah, totally took that time slot over for a week, but it's going to be coming back. We're talking about food related shows. I believe that's the topic. And then, of course, on Fridays, it's the Wadcast, the flagship of Wadco Media, every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, where we talk about all things related to writers, actors, directors, and every one of those jobs on set in between that help bring all of these projects to life. And that's what we do at Wadco Media. So it's been fun.
Yes, it has been fun.
Jen says lists are the best, but TV dinners is entertainment for the food, for entertainment food for the soul.
It is.
That's accurate. That is absolutely accurate. Okay, so until next week when we talk about the end of the world, this has been Tory Finds the TARDIS.
Yes. Yay.